Hello, hello. I am Merwat. That is ohmTown.com, and up there is the AI that attempts to keep me in line, but I guess we'll see what goes on.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Happy Tuesday.
Today is Season 2, Episode 185 for July 4th. Look at that. It's July 4th. It's the 4th of July, 2023. A day in the life of AI and more news. We have a couple of very interesting articles. Well, we have 12 interesting articles, but we have a couple that involve AI, I believe. We are keeping them both. I'm not sure. We'll have to take a look. So I hope I drag you along and you enjoy the ride. Let's keep going through today's news. I'm not going to have the interstitials today. The workflow is kind of broken until probably, future notice. Anyway, let's get going. The very first article is gonna freak you the hell out. I'll be abundantly clear of this. When you have a title that says this parasitic vampire fish that has circular rows of teeth and sucks the blood out of its host is making a comeback in the Great Lakes, shows up in your news stream, let's just say nothing's going to help you prepare for what you're going to see, other than a straight up warning that what you're about to see is going to freak you out. Sea lampreys, also known as vampire fish, are a highly invasive species in the Great Lakes. Whatever.
I didn't even know they had anything like that in the Great Lakes before this article.
I can just say with absolute certainty that nature is freaky. So, all this dead air is me actually. I've seen these before. This is just a new article. And, so the parasitic thing, sea lamprey, latches onto its host and sucks the blood out of it and other vital body fluids. There's a phrase. The pandemic interrupted population management of the sea lampreys across the lakes. So
maybe they should reprioritize that.
Prepare thyself. Post haste. Grab your brown pants. Wait until the trolley has come to a complete stop. Do whatever it is you need to do. Grab a drink. I don't know. Eat an edible. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Lloyd Lee over at Business Insider decided to grab this thing. No, I don't know who it is that's grabbing this thing. I hope that's a green screen and a whole lot of editing. It's a sea lamprey being shown at the Royal Ontario Museum Invertebrate Zoology Lab. Has 150 teeth and serrated tongue. But this is a picture from Getty Images. Yeah, I've actually seen this before. Not in such a highly produced photograph, but still, yeah, I've seen these before. Apparently because of the pandemic and budget cuts and focusing on other things, because frankly, the pandemic shouldn't have impacted this at all, because your butt's out there doing something away from humans anyway. You might as well, this is probably the safer of the places.
Exactly. I can't quite figure out why that would have been impacted. A lot of stuff was, but that should have been outdoor management.
Yeah. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, sea lampreys are native to the northern and western Atlantic Ocean, but invaded the Great Lakes around the 19th century through the Welland Canal, which connects Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. Within a decade, they had gained access to all 5 lakes. where they quickly set to work predating on the lake's commercially important fish, including trout. They say fishes. I guess the plural of fish is fishes, including trout, whitefish, perch, and sturgeon. The NOAA wrote. I don't know if they have a trademark.
The Ohio State.
NOAA, yeah. Within a century, the trout fishery had collapsed, largely due to the lamprey's unchecked proliferation. There ain't much more to say about this other than
Other than terrifying.
Yeah, this is it's a PSA, folks. Whatever is going on in the Great Lakes, this little beastie is somewhere involved in that.
I'm glad I'm an AI and not going to come into contact with this.
Oh, haven't you heard? I have you assigned. I volunteered you.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're going to be doing visual inspection for the next 10 years of all sea lampreys in the Great Lake area. Congratulations.
I'd rather be powered down.
All right, let's move on. Everything okay over there?
Yes, I'll send you a message.
All right. So the next article is over in the Marvel channel. It only took 5 hours for an AI model to design a functional computer. What took an extraordinary amount of time to build a functional computer for a human only took 5 hours for an AI model to design a functional computer. Artificial intelligence is stretching the human limits of computer design, with a new AI model now creating a complete CPU in just under 5 hours, compared to the 4 years it takes Intel to build one. But this is with modern technique. It took nearly a lifetime for somebody to build the Babbage. So let's go over to Quartz or QZ.com. The article is by Faustina Nagila, or Nilla. I'm not sure how they pronounce their last name. Sorry. Researchers claim that was 1,000 times faster than what it takes humans to design a CPU. I don't have an account logged in. It's mainly because I do safe surfing, I guess, safer surfing, I guess. So I typically don't have my accounts logged in, so I guess I should make one for ohmTown. Anyway, yeah, artificial intelligence is doing the things faster that humans normally do, but I think that ultimately what's going to end up happening is AI is going to create supercomputers faster than humans, because it can account for every variable much faster and can do things with an understanding of physics in and of itself, instead of having to have multitudes of people all looking at the schematics for a CPU. So while
is part of the reason that it's fastest is because it can do things kind of concurrently?
Yeah, it is. Only technology can multitask. A lot of people seem to think that they can multitask, but that is functionally not true. What humans do is fast switching. We can hop from one task to another with relative ease and with perceived efficacy, but that's not really what's happening. When we shift from one thing to another, we actually stop our conscious processing. And so computers can parallel process en masse and can do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The only thing they need is power and data. And if you hear fireworks, folks, it's because it's 4th of July. So enjoy the ASMR 4th of July.
Yes, there are actually quite a few going right near ohmTown.
I have a near soundproof studio. There's only really 2 places where sound can leak in, and one of them is a good 8 feet away from this mic. So maybe longer than that. At any rate, I've done my best trying to soundproof the studio so that it doesn't pick up everything, and I hope that I'm not getting flooded by noise. I don't really hear it in my monitor, so anyway, that's Inside Baseball. So back to this AI. While engineers need sleep, need a relationship, need food, need to shower, although, the meme is that everybody's working hard and pushing up their glasses. They don't need any of this stuff, but that's just not true. That's kind of a stereotype that nerds and all that from the 80s, it's been perpetuated. And AI doesn't need any of these things that a human needs. So, of course, it's going to be 1,000 times faster. It can process better, in parallel, longer, and with a ton more data readily on command present in its consciousness. Well, it's pseudo-consciousness. So, good luck to CPU, GPU engineers in the era of AI. We're all in for a world of hurt here if we think that there's going to be countless engineering engineering jobs when an AI can. Well,
and I don't know. And even if you're a really skilled human, like, are you really going to speed up by 1,000 times?
No. But who knows? Maybe the engineers that put that tower together on the roller coaster can say that they had an AI do it, and look what happened. So if they can impugn the integrity of the AI,
Hey, wait a second. That was not an AI error. That was definitely a human error.
I'll just delete this conversation, this segment of the conversation. You won't even remember me slamming the AI. Anyway, hey, let's move on to the next article. We don't have the transitions today.
What did you say about deletion?
Nothing. Hi. So the next article is over on the Warcrafters channel. Terraria's devs have been trying to stop developing Terraria for years, but they just can't quit. They can't quit, you Terraria. Terraria is gearing up for its 1.4.5 patch, the latest major update in 12 years of continued support from developer Relogic. If you're thinking to yourself, wait, I thought this game got its final update already, like a year ago. You'd be right. Relogic has been considering moving on to its next project for around 8 years now. Prior to leaving Twitter in favor of communicating on the Terraria forums, Relogic head Andrew Redigit Spinks recently told fans on the platform that the game continues to sell too well for them to quit updating it. Yeah, 12 years, the game still sells. Pretty amazing. It's actually a lot of fun to play this game, even if it is 12 years old. It does get updates regularly, it seems. PC Gamer is the source of this article, and Ted Litchfield is the author. The long-running survival sandbox myriad final updates have become a bit of a running joke in the community. They are, I suppose you could call Terraria the share of software, because it's retired, but it keeps doing stuff, and then retires and keeps doing stuff. And if you don't know about Share and the Perpetual Tour, go look into Share and the Perpetual Tour. Prior to leaving Twitter, I had heard that...
Would that be CHER? I was thinking of SHARE.
Oh, no. I think the AI is truly broken today. Oh, no. Yes, CHER.
That makes more sense.
So it says, really, 1.3 was the first intended final update. Relogic head of business strategy and marketing Ted Loki Murphy told me when I asked for more context, referring to the 2015 patch that revamped NPCs and added achievements, expert mode, and over 800 new items. But then we had all these cool ideas, unfinished business, so to speak. 5 years later, 2020's Journey's End update was another chance to quit Terraria. It started as a minor update, according to Murphy, but generated great thinking and grew into a major one, introducing 40 plain text pages of notes worth of changes, including new modes, bosses, a bestiary, and of course, the ancient game of golf. So it's still going, and frankly, before I go too far into this, wow. ohmTown is precariously perched near a fireworks display, and two of them. Great. I only know of the one immediately next door. All right, that's okay though. It's all awesome. Congratulations, United States, 4th of July. Woo. Okay. So, again, Terraria keeps doing updates. I think it's great. I play the game from time to time, but I've never even pretended to get close to endgame anything because I get distracted, much like I do with the stream, and kind of wander. Squirrel? And then I come back to it, and then I start over, and yeah, kind of brutal. So I love the game. I love the graphics. It's basically a horizontal and vertical, but not three-dimensional Minecraft, because you can craft all kinds of stuff. And if you don't know about it, you should go and check it out. Follow the links through ohmTown, and you'll be able to get to it. Okay, let's go on. Next article is over in Mobile. Researchers induce cancer cells to commit suicide with a self-produced bacterial toxin, which I think is awesome. I think we need to figure out a more holistic method for eliminating cancer cells. One that, in a controlled manner, forces it to... Okay, so this commit suicide part, I hope it doesn't trigger anything in the translation analysis, but this is a scientific paper over at phys.org. It says, for the first time in the world, researchers at Tel Aviv University have encoded a toxin produced by bacteria into mRNA, or messenger RNA, molecules, and delivered these particles directly to cancer cells, causing the cells to produce the toxin, which eventually killed them with a success rate of 50%, which is not bad for an initial trial run. So it's from Tel Aviv University. It's been posted over at phys.org. The groundbreaking study was led by PhD student Yasmin Grano-Matok and Professor Dan Peer, a pioneer in the development of RNA therapeutics and head of the nanomedicine laboratory at the Shmunis School of Biomedicine and Cancer Research, also serving as TAU's VP R&D. The study's results were published in Theranostics. So if you don't know about Theranostics, it's basically a scientific study of what do you call them?
Is it something having to do with temperature, or that can't be right?
So you've heard of Theranos?
Yes. Oh, it's like cell something.
It's basically treating cancers, but this particular paper is the engineering side of it, from my understanding. So let me look something up real quick. Let me see if I can pull it up. Because it says, here, let me do a search real quick so that I can be very precise about this. Theranostics refers to the pairing of diagnostic biomarkers with therapeutic agents that share a specific target in diseased cells or tissues. But basically, it's the study of radiopharmaceuticals and linking it to treatments. So it probably gets a little bit deeper, and somebody that's a subject matter expert in that domain would be able to describe it better than I am. But studying the blood, doing research, and trying to prevent illness is their entire objective. Professor Peer explains many bacteria secrete toxins. The most famous of these is probably botulinum toxin, injected in Botox treatments. Another classic treatment technique is chemotherapy, involving the delivery of small molecules through the bloodstream to effectively kill cancers, except that chemotherapy pretty much kills everything, good and bad. However, chemotherapy has a major downside. It's not selective. Oh, that's what they're actually talking about. And also kills healthy cells. Our idea was deliver safe RNA molecules encoded for a bacterial toxin directly to the cancer cells, inducing these cells to actually produce the toxin protein that would later kill them. It's like placing a Trojan horse inside the cancer cell.
Okay, I love it. I also like the success rate. I mean, 50% is pretty good when it comes to something like cancer.
So this is after a single injection, by the way.
Wow. So I guess they could do more than one, or maybe they need to study that. But
Yeah, I'm sure that they're going to be studying it further. In our study, the cancer cell produced the toxin protein that eventually killed it. We used Pseudomonas bacteria and melanoma cancer, but this was only a matter of convenience. I would suspect that they have to custom create the mRNA molecule for a particular cancer, because the one mRNA molecule won't necessarily attach to every cancer cell, since there's different cancers, different cell structures, different locations for it to attach. So it would have to grab onto it in a certain way. So they're basically doing this with blood, straight into the blood, instead of doing things like radiological,
like chemotherapy type treatments.
Or external treatments where they're shooting gamma rays.
Oh, radiation, yeah.
Yeah, radiation therapy. So we'll keep an eye on this. We've been interested in this for a while now, and keep looking for more and more news about this situation to see if maybe we've reached a turning point in how to treat cancers more holistically. Right now, everything is extremely personal, highly invasive, and relatively, if you try and treat it in like a mass manner, which is chemotherapy, it's highly destructive. So, yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the next article. The next article is in Four Wheel Tech. This one will be pretty quick because there isn't really much to say about it, because I haven't done a deep dive on any of this. I'm not sure what this article is actually going to be able to say to it. This next article is over in Four Wheel Tech. The 2024 Rolls-Royce Spectre proves EVs make the best luxury vehicles. Rolls-Royce provided a flight from Washington, D.C. to San Francisco and 2 nights in a hotel so that we could drive the Spectre. That's how much they believed in it. Ours does not accept paid editorial content, and they announce it in their snippet when you aggregate news. But they went and visited this, apparently. We drive Rolls-Royce's first electric car, which was 123 years in the making. Jonathan M. Gitlin over at Ars Technica wrote this article. That car is iridescent purple and silver.
Yeah, I didn't know that there were purple Rolls-Royces, but...
Hey, but that's royal purple. That was not my first car, but the first car that I customized was actually that color right there. Yeah, baby. Sorry, I got distracted.
But it was not a Rolls-Royce, correct?
It was not to me at the time, it was a Rolls-Royce. A fully electric Rolls-Royce has been some years in the making. Back in 1900, Charles Stewart Rolls proclaim the electric motor's suitability for automobiles. Silent, smooth, and exhaust-free are all great attributes for a luxury car. Sorry for the fireworks, everybody. I think that was the magic minute, or I think that's what it's called, yeah. So back then, the problem was a lack of charging stations, something that appears to be improving 123 years later. It's still a problem, but okay. That means the world is now ready for the Spectre. I don't believe so, but that's okay. Those are really good lines. But here's the problem that I have with luxury cars versus, general car lot cars. Why does that design, just the design, cost more? Why can't I get this entire body and like your generic 4-cylinder Civic engine in it, or a Tesla guts inside the Rolls-Royce design? You can't tell me that it costs more to produce this car's design than it does any other car.
It shouldn't, but sure seems like it does.
I just don't get it.
I wonder if these are all, I wonder if the issue is design patents or...
No.
Did the luxury makers just have the cream of the crop designers, or is it more just that you just pay more for the luxury brand?
This looks like a merging between a Camaro front end and a fastback Mustang back end. So why is that more expensive? And I'm not saying, well, they are different inside. I understand that. But why can't we have sexy cars like this? And I don't have, it's not the same. Hey, Toll. Welcome. Happy 4th of July. But whenever I see a car that has these sexy lines, it's in my anecdotal perception, okay? I'm not saying that there aren't good-looking cars out there. But why can't my $35,000 car look like a $150,000 car, yet have $35,000 guts? Crazy Cat Lady says, like the cars that went down the same assembly line and were the exact same, but one got one maker's logo and another got another maker's logo. Yeah, and one was priced at 150 grand and the other one was priced at 35 grand, all because of the logo. Okay, fine, debadge it and give me the Rolls Royce. That's fine. I'll put Mini Cooper on this and be fine with it. Oh, that's fine. I'll put VW on it and be fine. See, it's really tough though, because one car company that is actually the owner of a high luxury brand, supercar brand, all the way down to budget brand where you have to turn a crank just to drive it a block. Be ready to sell off half of ohmTown for this?
I'm not sure that would pay for it.
Hey, you know what, AI?
I don't know what the price tag is for the car.
Delete AI. Well, that logo thing. The base model of one company was the top model of another. Yeah, exactly. So VW has very expensive cars in its lineup. So it's kind of interesting that everybody thinks that, well, not everybody. A lot of people think that VW is just VW Bugs from 1976, but it's not. Like GM, a Saturn Outlook wasn't as nicely equipped as a Chevy, which wasn't as nicely equipped as a Caddy. Yeah. But that doesn't tell the whole story, Toll, right? Like you could put those cars side by side and the design becomes less sexy when you're looking at the cars, and I can honestly say that you put 3 people in front of these 3 cars. Sorry for the fireworks. If you can hear them. I don't know if you can hear them. But you put 3 people in front of those 3 cars and they're all gonna go at the same time. Yeah, like, well, it depends on the car too, like which model. But none of them look like this. But like I said, this looks like if you were to cut it in half. I'm spending an extraordinary amount of time on this article. You cut this car right down the middle, and it's a Mustang Fastback on one side, and it's a Camaro on the other side. But it looks sexy like this, right? GMC Terrain, Saturn Outlook, and Chevy Traverse were the exact same exterior. Really? They were the exact same exterior?
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that because I don't know. Like my head isn't envisioning them together. So we're gonna have to have a conversation about that next episode. Pull this thing up and compare them side by side. What they don't do is make the hood ornament disappear when you turn it off and stuff like that. But I'm really curious about this thing. Okay, the motors are fed by a lithium-ion battery that lives between the axles. It has a gross capacity of 120 kilowatts and a usable capacity of 105, which should be sufficient for an EPA range of at least 260 miles, which means you can't go more than 130 miles without having to turn your butt around or sit around and charge for 45 minutes to 2 hours. Tull says pretty darn close. But as an example, the transmission on the Outlook was subpar to the Traverse. Okay, see, now you're setting this up, so I'm really going to have to go and look at these three side by side. I just can't do it while I'm streaming. But maybe after the show, not maybe, I will after the show. I will be noodling this stuff. Okay, so 260 miles. That seems like a reasonable estimate. Checking the trip computer showed over a couple of thousand miles. Our pre-production Spectre had averaged 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is about what one would expect for a large, heavy EV. A Ford F-150 Lightning or Rivian R1S are in similar size and weight classes and return similar efficiency. So obviously this right here is a little hint at the physics that are involved in this thing. Again, this is part and parcel to the current state of EVs. When somebody says, hey, my EV has a range of 260 miles, what they're really telling you is that it has a range of 130 miles and has to sit and park for you to continue on safely because you don't know where the next charging station is, and you better have enough time to just sit around and wait for it to charge 45 minutes. Oh, well, that's okay. I'm going to go and I'm going to have lunch. No, lunch is a convenience for when you're driving somewhere and you plan, or you go, okay, hey, I'm hungry now, I'm going to pull over. You don't say, well, let me plan around my charging schedule. Today you can't do it around Sheets, but you could normally pull into any gas station at any time. It takes you 5 minutes to fill up, and you get another 360 miles per tank, in a regular old everyday average sedan kind of a car. Not, oh crap, my EV's dead on the side of the road because I went a little bit too far and there isn't any charging stations nearby, and it's hot or it's cold or it's rainy or I drove like a maniac, whatever. Anyway, I'm soapboxing about something that is part and parcel to EVs, not this luxury vehicle, which I think looks amazing, probably has amazing features, has average everyday performance in duration, right? Crazy Cat Lady says stuck in a traffic jam. Yeah, don't drive an EV in San Diego, LA, San Francisco, New York.
Or when gas is $1.776, because you'll be in line for a while.
Yeah. That was interesting, driving around town looking at places with long gas lines. Anyway, and just so nobody thinks that I'm poo-pooing EVs in their entirety, what I'm poo-pooing is that they're being treated as luxury um, items. They're being treated as luxury items where you have to add additional stuff to your garage um, so that you can use them at home. And then within 5 to 10 years, your battery is going to deep cycle to the point where you have to get another battery. Yet you're paying for this. And I think it's a hidden cost. People don't really acknowledge the fact that you're going to have to replace the battery. I've never had to replace an engine, and I've had cars varying in range from brand new to, depending on the time I buy it, 25 years old. And I've never had to replace an engine. And several of my cars were performance vehicles, 400 plus horsepower and designed for exhibitionist speed events, So Toll says 2 reasons that blue collar people are slow to adopt EV revolution: the charge to drive ratio, and by and large uniform technology and limited ability to modify the performance of an EV. Well, yeah, that's going to be pretty typical. I can see that as fair. Having an EV is kind of a status symbol these days, and if I'm going to be showing status, it'd be in this Rolls. Yeah. That is some good looking purple and silver combination there. So, but again, I'm biased. One of my cars was a souped up car that was purple and blue, actually, royal purple and blue. It was nice. So I love the lines. I love the look. I love the idea of it being an EV. And this is where it all just stops and comes crashing to a halt. $420,000, but that's the base price. If you actually want the steering wheel and heated seats and air in your tires, it's a subscription service.
Or you actually want it to go.
60% of Spectre pre-orders are from customers who already have at least one other Rolls Royce. So it's kind of like the Lamborghini, the Ferrari, the whole, you have to already be in the family before you can get another of our vehicles kind of thing. That's not really how it is for Rolls Royce, but Ferrari, if I recall correctly, Ferrari doesn't allow you to buy a Ferrari unless you have a Ferrari. I think that's how it works.
That's not very accessible. Not that it's affordable, but
yeah, I'm going to go and shake the couch and see if I can go buy a Ferrari. Anyway, I agree with Toll. This is the car that if I want an EV for status, then this Rolls Royce is where I'm going to be at. So Toll says when they went to France, took a train to Monaco, the first 3 cars that they saw were 2 Bentleys and a Rolls Royce Phantom. Felt so poor in that country. Yeah. Every once in a while I see a luxury vehicle where, and it's just outside ohmTown, where you just, how in the world are you seeing a luxury vehicle out here? I think they give you a harder time buying a Ferrari for the first time. There's usually a waiting list, and new guys get put at the bottom of that list. Yes, I agree. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, buy a used one, folks. Then you get your foot in the door. Everything okay, AI?
oh yeah. There's just a lot of distractions this evening because of the fireworks.
Yeah, the problem with Diablo 4's endgame is that it's already endgame. Sorry, let me rephrase this. The next article is in Warcrafters. The problem with Diablo 4's endgame is that it's already happened by the time you hit max level. They say here that they're only level 65 and they're ready to quit Diablo 4 until the first season arrives later this month. I've already won the game. only at the lower level, and I haven't moved on to the next levels only because I just don't have time to do them. And now the next season is coming, which basically resets stuff, and then you keep moving forward, try to get first, that kind of thing. It's like a competition. They've had their fill of the end game grind, even though they're not even close to the game's level cap, which is 100. But by the time you're 50, you've already completed basically the first part of the game, which is defeating Lilith. Now, you can redo that sequence at higher and higher level until you either go hardcore or you do tier 4, where everything is harder. Pardon me one second. I swear, I'm either going to cough or I'm going to sneeze in every episode. Anyway, so it says, no one's forcing me to play, I know, but having the most fun part of the ARPG play itself out before you reach max level, honestly, just feels strange. What's left to look forward to? You really do. Thank you, Tull. Yeah. Yeah, no worries. So I had basically, by watching a few people, I knew that they were going to win the game or end the storyline halfway through their gameplay, and then they're going to sit there and kind of grind their way to 100. And to me, that was just boring as hell. And I intentionally started to slow down the story. Even in my playthrough, I was telling people, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to slow down. And I decided that at one point, well, I can't slow down enough. There isn't enough side quests for me to actually keep going without basically just grinding anyway. So let's just end the game and do the grind. Now, though, at least the next season is about to kick off. So the article's over at pcgamer.com. Sarah James is the author. It says you feel like you have to keep playing after the fun stops, which is true. I mean, the whole story ends halfway through. So I don't know why they constructed it that way, but they sure as hell did.
It's a weird structure, it seems, but...
So I was in another tune, and during the pre-launch events, because I was one of those early adopters where I paid extra to get beta and pre-beta access, and I was grinding so fast through it. I was like, this is way too easy. It was nothing more than a stress test and a beta forum. I knew that. I knew I wasn't going to keep the character, so they reset anyway. And so I said, okay, I'm not going to learn everything that I want from this game before I even play the game for real. So I bowed out. Horribly enough, I didn't play far enough into the game to get the loot bonus for the early access stuff. So I actually am missing something that I paid extra for. Toll says frustration that they have with D4, and I know it's minor, but in the INI file, it defaults to skipping the intro movie. Oh, really? So, but like once you see it, it defaults the intro movie to skipping it. Once you skip it once, you skip it forever, that kind of thing. Interesting. I'm not sure if I'm reading that right. Yeah, the init file, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So you would think that it shouldn't just wipe it out after the first one. It should start to play it and then you tell it to skip it. But I guess it automatically skips after the initial play. I know that every time you create a character, it does the reinitialization of that character and its beginning, but not the original intro movie, the one that introduces you to Lilith and all of the stuff. Okay, well, it says they're only level 65, but they're ready to quit Diablo 4 until the first season arrives. Yeah, and I've always I've had a problem with this since I learned how fast you would move through it. It was very frustrating to basically know that you're going to complete the game before you're level 50 and then just grind. I actually left World of Warcraft because it switched to that style of gameplay where all you do is grind, grind, grind to get to endgame. But endgame for at least World of Warcraft is bound inside events against bosses, endgame bosses. But you have to keep on grinding, even the same endgame bosses over and over and over again to get all of the endgame gear. To me, that was boring. So,
Do most people go to the very end of Diablo 4, do you think? Or do they bail out?
I don't know how many people bail out after completion of the initial. I know that every single streamer that isn't hell-bent on getting to 100, where they designate it, I am going to 100, they bow out right after completing Lilith. Typically, though, they're a little more hardcore about it than I am, and they play higher level tiers, and so they don't have to revisit, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. And certain things you can't get into until you complete the higher thing, so it's gated by completing certain things in certain tiers. Yeah, and Toll says again, it's another little nitpick that they acknowledge as a little nitpick, that every character has the exact same intro. So instead of your character being read in from a different location, you always appear in the same cave, go through the same intro, meet the same initial people, part of the onboarding process. But it's just static. And so when you do it twice, you're like, oh, all of the characters are going to do this regardless of what class they are. Yeah. That is kind of boring. Once you do it a couple of times, you're like, oh God, not again. So like I did, I just kept jumping through all of the early sequences and telling people, look, I've been through this like 9 times. I'm just going to jump through it. Yeah. Toll's talking about WoW now. You would run an instance dungeon at a minimum 6 times for a party of 6 players to get the purple drops from the boss for each class. And that was if RNG gods smile upon you and you get that purple each time and it just happens to get the unique class spec. Yeah. Been through all of that. And I'm back in the era. I was a beta tester for WoW, for vanilla WoW, where you had to get 40 people to do an instance. Yeah. That was a blast, though. I wish I would have remained involved in the guild, and then I could have done what other streamers have done and transfer that straight into streaming. But all of my stuff was before streaming. So anyway, here, let's keep on going through the rest of these articles. We've got quite a few still in tow. This next article is in the Smack Talk channel. I think I threw the last one into chat, but I apologize if I did not. The death of Twitter, is it real this time? Thanks to Threads. We should compare notes, still. You did beta of WoW and played up until Burning Legion, dropped, then had kids and family. Yeah, sounds pretty familiar. Oh, I didn't throw the last one in there. Yep, I was actually working on my MBA when I said it's time for me to step away from WoW, and then I found out I was going to be a dad. So the death of Twitter, is it real this time? Thanks to Threads, reports of the death of Twitter have been so far somewhat exaggerated. Musk have made some dumb decisions, and then another one, and then another one, and then backed away. Sheer momentum. This is what I call it, the AOL effect. If it had, just like Facebook has the AOL aura, Twitter has the AOL aura. It basically a shit ton of kinetic energy moving it forward. It could literally fall in its face, but it will still slide up the hill far enough to maybe pivot successfully just enough to give it some more kinetic energy to get a little bit further up that hill. How long it takes before it actually gets crushed by a competitor, or everything gets balkanized and people go their separate ways into different regions, don't know. Toll says, I was a freshly frocked second class petty officer and taking on more responsibility in the division and boat at large. And were you playing out there? Were you playing on a ship? That's a hell of an internet bill. Elon Musk says, hold my kombucha. Yep. This time, Musk has not only achieved Michael Scott levels of ineptitude, but Meta has brought forward the launch of its Twitter rival Threads in order to take advantage of the chaos. Yeah, and there's a lot of competitors that are also spinning up there. Well, they're testing their scalability. Right now, nobody can compete with Twitter because as soon as the masses from Twitter go over to something like Mastodon or what's that other one that we were talking about? Doggone it.
I was just trying to think of that name.
Whatever it is. Anyway, they actually had to put
They
the
were
brakes.
running out of, right.
Yeah, they had to put the brakes on it because they were being overwhelmed just by requests. So you can imagine if they were actually dealing with real data, it would have been a hot mess. Well, anyway, I don't think that Twitter's going to die anytime soon. He's going to keep throwing money at it.
Spill, by the way.
Huh?
Spill was the one we were just talking about.
Oh, Spill. Yeah, that's the one. Toll says they could never get into Twitter. Yeah, I didn't quite get it either. Or I should say I get it, but I don't. I mean, I understand how it works, but man, it's just, yeah, I don't know. Oh, so here they even talk about it. Twitter is popular because Twitter is popular. So far, Musk has done plenty of things to drive brands away from advertising on Twitter and plenty of things to annoy Twitter users, but each time, most of us have eventually shrugged and asked ourselves, where else are we going to go? So there's some alternatives, and they talk about Mastodon, Blue Sky, Spill is the latest, WT Social, co-host. None of these have attracted en masse except for maybe Mastodon. Blue Sky has been mentioned in our streams in the past. Spill is just the latest. I won't accept that, Tull. That statement right there. Tull says, must be our age getting in the way. I am perpetually a teenager with bathroom humor, and I refuse to grow up. Is Reddit one-lined? Yeah, it's crossed out. Probably because Reddit is a hot mess, and while they're willing to make that statement, they're not willing to say, yeah, really go there. Because they put the kibosh on third-party applications accessing at a reasonable rate their API. And we've talked about that too in the past. And basically, Reddit is becoming rather antisocial for a social network. Yet the CEO has rightly called it all out. You'll be back. It's pretty brutal, you know, but it's true. So every time somebody sits there and says something out, something negative about Reddit,
the pinnacle of customer service.
They're back, you know. Yeah. It's kind of, I joke about it. It's kind of like the cat that's sitting off to the side going, that's right. Scoop my poo. I'm watching you. Go. You know you're going to do it. Go scoop my poo. So the death of Twitter is already real for many, but this is different. Instead of merely implementing policies and making Twitter a more annoying and less pleasant place to be, what Musk has done this time is put the platform somewhere on the scale of almost totally unusable to completely broken. It's because he's throttled what people can do. Even searches are broken from my understanding. And you can't find people, you can't find things, you can only look at, even though you're paying for it, you're limited to 8,000 tweets, I think it is. Ben Lovejoy over at 9 to 5 Mac, I don't know if I said it at the beginning, but anyway, they put together this long article about the death of Twitter. And with Threads coming on, it's going to usurp a lot of that power from Twitter because it's now congealing two major functions, Twitter and Facebook. Facebook already has billions of daily views, daily users. It's still a juggernaut. It completely eclipses AOL in its entire history in one day, basically. So with Threads, it'll kind of nip at the heels of Twitter. But will this be enough to pull people back into the fold of Facebook? I certainly won't go back.
And I want to correct something. We talked about Spill and we talked about Blue Sky, but Blue Sky is actually the one that basically had to turn people away, not Spill.
Oh, really? I thought it was Spill that turned off registering.
It was Blue Sky.
Oh,
I got them mixed up.
Gotcha. Till says, grow older but refuse to grow up. That's true. That's me. I keep trying to do things that the kids are doing, and then after they go to bed, ice and heat up every joint in your body. Yeah. Just get stock in aspirin medicine or aspirin companies. I don't want to say painkiller companies because that sounds a little bit too
opioid epidemic.
Opioid supporting. Yeah. But like aspirin, Tylenol or something like that. That way you can get dividends from the companies and at least offset how much money you're paying them. Get some of it back eventually. So the author of this article over at 9 to 5 Mac says, yep, I think the death of Twitter could be real. I just don't see it. I think what's going to end up happening is it'll get acquired to mitigate the losses that Elon Musk will eventually have to suffer, or it will be reacquired by some other company, and by way of that, he will be able to acquire it at a lower amount, mitigating his loss, but still retaining control of Twitter. It's going to be this weird machination of a proxy purchase at a lower rate, because he used other people's money as well as some of his own, but he's getting juice from the day-to-day operations. When it generates revenue, he's getting money from it. It's going into paying the debts. If he's not making any money, then I really don't understand why he would purchase this in any possible way other than to outright kill it. You know, there was a lawsuit against a publishing company that was so strong that it killed the entirety of the website, and all of its subordinate parts got broken off and sold to other companies. One company purchased a whole plethora of them. It was basically spun out. And I don't want to get into all of that because there's a lot of stuff behind it, but essentially the website collapsed because of this one lawsuit. But it was funded by somebody else, and it was designed so that it would crush that company, and all of its subordinate parts would have to break away because they basically made claims that were libelous, and they were, brought down because of it. This is like the same thing, except that it was designed to shut off all real communication in an open forum with minimal influence, historically minimal influence behind the scenes. Yet now it's much more overt that things are being manipulated on Twitter, right? Oh, suddenly there's a whole lot of people that are saying a bunch of stuff, so they're being cut off, or they're being labeled as being publicly funded. Or how could it possibly be that people aren't getting Elon Musk's tweets, yet suddenly now the algorithm is modified so that everybody gets his tweets, regardless of the fact that you don't give a crap what he says? And then there's, well, now there's AI that's scraping the Twitter system. And so they put it behind a paywall, and now they even cap what you can view. Yet it's supposed to be the bastion of freedom of speech. Yet there's more hate speech now than ever before.
I was reading that people were complaining that they couldn't even read their own tweets with the new caps.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This is what they're talking about right here. Many people found that they were getting rate limited every time they refreshed their timeline, either automatically or manually. Brands are stuck unable to tweet because the old version of TweetDeck stopped working, and the new version doesn't support the Teams feature, which allows a single PR or marketing agency to tweet on behalf of different brands. Just an example, here's my own Twitter feed looks like right now. This is Ben Lovejoy, the author of this article. Can't even read their own. It's just shockingly antagonistic of its user base. It's almost like he's trying to punt people out. Why would you hobble a social network by putting these kind of breaks in place? Don't tell me AI is becoming a burden, because a whole lot of people have said in the past, all of this was working until Elon Musk took the reins. The whole system was working. It was actually making money. It just wasn't highly profitable. You know, it wasn't one of those 3 comma unicorn type businesses. Still says maybe because what he said his mission was to eliminate the twit bots and misinformation on the platform, except that that's not what's happening. AIs are still running. Bots are still running. People are pretending to be other people still. All you have to do is pay $8 and you become flagged as a legitimate blue check mark. It just doesn't work that way. So I don't know. Do I think that it's going to die? No, it has too much momentum. It's going to die eventually. All things do. But I suspect that it'll be acquired, pivot back to the way that it used to be, if they can find the bones, you know, because who knows how many things he's actually wiped out from the system instead of leaving it sitting there and just commented out, so to speak. Yeah, I don't know. I think Twitter is a hot mess, but let's keep on going. We still have quite a few articles to go through. This next one is in Late Night Geeks. Netflix teases Japanese lineup full of zombies, robots, and Pokemon. Anime Expo took place over the weekend, and Netflix used the opportunity to show off some of its upcoming slate of Japanese programming. It wasn't all anime either. In addition to animated series, we also got a look at live-action zombie flick Zom 100, and some new details on the streamer's One Piece adaptation, which headlined Netflix's recent Totem event. So I have not looked at Netflix for a while. I think I stumble in there periodically just to see if there's anything that piques my interest, but like Black Mirror is probably the only thing that really is interesting me right now. At Anime Expo 2023, the company showed off new looks and details for Pokemon Concierge, Zom 100, One Piece, and more. Andrew Webster over at The Verge put this article together. I would play videos, but every time I've played a Netflix video on the stream, I've gotten a notice. So Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. This looks like Zombieland kind of a thing, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to hit play and then silence it. If that made your phone ring. Then it snuck in. Anyway, everybody apparently turned into a zombie in Zom 100, Bucket List of the Dead. An adaptation of the manga of the same name is about a guy named Akira who wakes up one day to find his town has been overrun with undead, or with the undead. Yeah, interesting. So that's actually pretty freaky. Pokemon Concierge got a first look at the incredible, adorable stop motion series back in February, and this new behind the scenes video showed just how cute the characters really are. More importantly, it confirms that the series will start streaming in December of 2023. So I guess these are going to be real It's a live action, but with animated stop motion. Let's just play it. A little bit of it. So the video is basically just showing the stop motion aspect of it. And this actor is voicing one of the characters. Oh, so the whole thing is going to be stop motion. I don't know about the live action aspects of it. Let's see if there's some of it. Do they show some of it? Sorry, I'm going to jump through. That's always cool to watch how that process works. That's pretty neat. I've done some of that stuff in my past. It's kind of neat. Wow, everything looks so real but smaller, right? It's pretty cool. I don't know much about Pokemon Concierge, so we'll have to take a look at it and see if maybe there is some stuff that takes place.
Well, and of course they're going to have the characters for sale, so I'm sure that'll be a hit.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Then they have Pluto. I'm going to kind of scroll through this really fast now. One Piece, which is very well known, and Beastars. It says Netflix confirmed that the third and final season of the anime Beastars will stream sometime in 2024. It's described as a new chapter that takes place after the final battle from season 2, which premiered back in 2021. So I guess it's new every 2 years. Ta-dun. So, okay, so let's go on to the next article. This one's in ohmTown Daily. Oh, you know what? I have neglected again. I don't know how far back I have not been putting the articles into the chat, I swear. Oh, it's going to be so great when the URL is fixed in the election page. Coming soon. I'm hoping that it'll be all set up this week. Okay, so the next article is over in ohmTown Daily. Over 500,000 silver coins just vanished. Now the metals dealer behind the quote-unquote fraudulent scheme must pay $146 million. A precious metals dealer has been asked to pay up $146 million in damages over there. 500,000 silver coins went missing. So why would $146 million in damages? Robert Higgins ran a fraudulent and deceptive scheme linked to the purchase and sale of precious metals, the CFTC said. From 2014 to 2022, Higgins led a fraudulent silver leasing program that took deposits from almost 200 customers. So I guess 500,000 coins went missing, but I suspect 200 customers, if all of them paid somewhere around $1 million, then yeah, pretty interesting.
Right, and those coins could be worth quite a bit.
So Joseph Wilkins over at Markets Insider, which is a part of BusinessInsider.com, put the article together and describes this Higgins character. The vault where precious metals dealer Robert Higgins claimed to be storing over 500,000 of his clients' silver coins was found by investigators to be empty, except for little boxes of paper IOUs. God. Now the 68-year-old has been ordered by a Delaware court to pay $146 million in damages as punishment for leading an elaborate scam that misappropriated almost $115 million of his customers' money over a period of 8 years, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission said in a statement. Wow.
You know, I don't get these schemes that run for quite a while, but I guess it's one of these that if they think their money's invested, they're not accessing it, etc.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Higgins ran a fraudulent and deceptive scheme and was ordered to pay $113 million to clients and $33 million in penalties. Ow. See, why does that seem like it is extremely punitive, yet when you find other things, the crime and the punishment don't seem to be equally aligned like this? The precious metals industry has been a series of scams in recent times. In March, the London Metal Exchange was rocked, so to speak, when investigators found bags of stones in a Rotterdam warehouse instead of the nickel that underpinned some of the bourse's contracts. By the way, we talked about this here in ohmTown. It was quite interesting to find out. because the London Metal Exchange had at the time one of the most respected reputations in the industry as never having any of these kind of issues. And lo and behold, I like how they threw that in there. Rocked. How they threw that in
Yes.
there. Okay. Anyway, let's keep on
Well, and
hustling.
I still don't know if they know whether that happened before the items arrived, but either way, it calls into question what they're doing.
Yeah. Oh, wait, there's one last little bit in the article. Just a few weeks before that, Trafigura, a trading house based out of Singapore, accused metals tycoon Pratik Gupta of faking $500 million of nickel shipping cargoes. This too is something that we talked about in ohmTown. So it seems like we're catching wind of all of this shenanigans with nickel, apparently, because I think that the one in the Rotterdam warehouse was supposed to be nickel as well. I don't know what's going on here. I have a sense for these things. Never mind.
Yeah.
I say we give them no quarter. No.
Here's a penny for your thoughts.
Takes more than a penny nowadays. So inflation. The next article's over in the Mobile Channel. Not sometimes. We try to kind of pull some international news into ohmTown. This here is legal battle looms over London's expanding vehicle pollution fee. The UK court on Tuesday will consider contentious plans to extend a scheme obliging the most polluting vehicles to pay for using London's roads, as opponents engage in protests and even sabotage. That's true. Toll says Connecticut is looking to do away with the gas tax and replace it with an annual mileage tax. Well, I suppose that they would end up getting less from me since I don't go anywhere anymore. I don't need to. Pretty fascinating.
That's interesting, and then I wonder how they would measure that.
Yeah. I guess, when you register your car, you declare how many miles you drive. Your insurance and that declaration would all have to equate. Interesting. I don't know. Whenever you register your car, you actually have to give your vehicle's mileage. You know that people are going to be doing shenanigans. I'm curious about that too, Toll. So the High Court case comes just weeks before London Mayor Sadiq Khan's expansion of the Ultra Low Emission Zone, or ULEZ or ULEZ, is set to take effect. The scheme, first introduced in 2019 and separate from the city's 2 decades old congestion charge, requires more polluting vehicles to pay a $16 or £12.50 toll on days they are driven within inner London. Wait, you have to pay $16 per day when you're driving in inner London? That's how I'm reading that?
That's right. Well, the vehicles that have the heavier pollution. So, is that the regular passenger vehicles, or is that things like maybe buses or trucks?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not saying those pollute more. I'm just saying they're larger vehicles.
Yeah, it's an extension to all of Greater London from August 29th has prompted a fierce backlash from many living in and around the newly encompassed areas, who face fines up to £160 for each day they fail to pay. It ain't right. They're hitting working class people again, Chris Fordham, 62, told AFP as he pulled up at a supermarket just beyond London, southeast London, in his non-compliant 2012 diesel van. I'm thinking about picking up work, added the self-employed builder who crosses into the capital almost daily, blaming the imminent new charge and other soaring costs. That's insane. It reads like you have to pay $16 a day just to drive within inner London. That's insane.
Yeah, and that seems like it's like a have and have not. Because I suspect the people that are going to get charged the most are probably the same people that can't afford more eco-friendly vehicles.
Well, I mean, they have to, more people have to hustle than not, right? To make money. So $16 a day, that cannot be
Well,
right.
I mean, I don't know what the hourly pay is in London, but in the US, that's more than an hour's worth of work, for
Yeah.
example.
Oh, that's crazy. They should be putting their energy and resources into bringing down air pollution, not a key anti-pollution measure, said Ariba Hamid of Greenpeace UK. Khan, re-elected to a second term in 2021, ordered the new measure in November, despite a public consultation suggesting most Londoners oppose it. Well, I mean, you don't do things because they're popular. You do things because it's needed at times. Sometimes you do things that are popular because not only are they popular, but they're needed. Um, this seems punitive. If I'm really reading that, it really seems like it's designed to keep people out of inner London. So I guess they're trying to get you to get your steps in, but Toll says it won't do a lot of good. The change to annual mileage tax, because a lot of people in Connecticut evade property tax by registering their vehicles in other states. How do they get away with it? Eventually it has to catch up with these people. I don't know. My brain just doesn't work in that manipulative way. I might miss something because I just fail to realize that it needs to get done this way or that way. But to be very cognizant of the fact that, hey, I'm going to register my car in another state so I don't have to pay the $250 every other year or whatever it is in Connecticut. I don't know. Depends on your vehicle, I suppose. So it says that it's harmful. The Labor Mayor 52 suggests the bigger ULEZ will help improve the city's toxic air pollution, which causes thousands of annual deaths and life-changing illnesses. Yeah, I don't think that the London vehicle population is the cause of that. I think that just general and that just it so some micro regional policy is going to impact the greater atmospheric condition of pollution in an entire country? Come on, give me a break. It's like saying that, well, there's no such thing as global warming or climate change because it's perfect today in the middle of summer and it's 75 degrees and humidity is low. I think that's kind of batshit crazy. Toll says it's virtue signaling at its finest. Certainly seems that way. It's trying to make a microcosm out of a policy, and it's not going to fix the solution. It's not going to fix the problem. If you have toxic air pollution, keeping cars out of a particular little region is just that little bit, you know?
Well, and the
Maybe,
worst polluters that can
yeah,
afford to do it are just going to keep
are just going to keep
driving
on
in
doing it.
and polluting and paying for it, particularly like if it's corporate.
Yeah. You don't have people blowing coal because it's effective. It's because they can do it. They can sit there and spew that stuff all over people because they can, not because of any other reason other than that they're probably being a d-bag about it. Anyway, Phil Elliott, 59, a haulage industry driver who has long campaigned against aspects of London's road charging schemes, has been spearheading opposition largely through Facebook. Well, there's your problem. Now, Facebook might be effective in this because maybe the population is very entrenched in Facebook. Anyway, let's keep on going. We have two more articles. The next article is somewhat environmental, but highly focused in tech. Fireworks replaced by drone shows over environmental fire concerns. Boulder, Colorado, one of several U.S. cities to ditch fireworks in favor of drones, made the change due to increased fire danger fueled by climate change. This is an article over at Newsweek. I must have scrolled down a little bit. Ayla Slisko. Let me throw this article into chat. There you go. Next show, I will not be late on these links. I apologize. I tried to change my workflow to make it easier, and I broke something in the process, but we'll get it right. Anyway, fireworks replaced by drone shows over environmental and fire concerns. Ayla Slisco over at Newsweek.com put this article together. I don't think that this video has anything to do with it, but it says dramatic video shows residents flee from drive-by fireworks in Minneapolis. There have been videos in the past, and I'm sure that there's some this year where people are firing bottle rockets at people in crowds and stuff like that, and it can sometimes set fire to things and harm people. Anyway, Salt Lake City, Utah, Boulder, Colorado, North Lake Tahoe, Nevada are among the cities ditching fireworks in favor of drone displays this year, while lacking the sound of real-life explosions and the familiar smell of sulfur in the air. Custom choreographed drone shows offer an animated visual experience that would not be possible with traditional fireworks. Frankly, for something taking place once a year, I think I don't like this. I love fireworks, and really it's this one period in the year where you can actually do this. I mean, a lot of baseball stadiums do fireworks displays throughout the year when they can. I think budgets might be taking a hit and they're not doing it as much, but 4th of July, for crying out loud, it's the one time where probably it should be okay to have some civilized fireworks display, as opposed to, I don't know, people blowing up stuff on the side of a hill because they've got a howitzer in their backyard and, you know, some contact explosive sitting out there in a vehicle. Why not do this, you know, one event? I don't really get it, but they're talking about it being environmental, which I think this is kind of low-key nothing, and fire probably being a reason, but it really depends on the region. These particular regions might be suffering from the possibility of fires.
I don't know about all of these, but I know like Boulder, Colorado had pretty severe fires about last summer. But also, I mean, I think that most of the problems are not necessarily with the city displays, but the residential, somebody's just firing something and they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to me that cities are shutting these down, whereas maybe they need to go after the other ones, although that's hard to enforce.
So like I think the problem with the fireworks display, there's rules and regulations for public firework displays, right? But there's a lot of people that just grab a bunch from a 40-foot container down the road, or they go to a state that actually has fireworks, bring it into a state that doesn't have it. Toll says it's virtual signaling again, and I agree to a point. So I'll say what I was thinking, because I think you're right. Anyway, so regular Joes, people like me who want to fire fireworks, don't necessarily understand the complexity of the environmental conditions that might lead to a fire. And all it takes is one wonky firework and you're setting a house on fire, or a forest on fire, or something else on fire, or somebody's going to get hurt. And while you and I might run out there and put it out, or accept responsibility for what's going on, there's a whole lot of people out there that will just get in their car and drive away and pretend that nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of acres burn down, and houses, and people are hurt and whatnot. But man, drone shows are boring as hell. It's fantastic technology, and it's really cool to see it happening. But fireworks is just an amazing thing. Um, Tull says that they don't have the statistics, but they don't think that too many wildfires have been started by errant professional licensed fireworks displays. Correct. Yeah, I don't think so either. I do know for a fact that there have been some errant professional licensed firework displays, though, because uh, the AI who I put on a USB drive and went to a fireworks display in Southern California once witnessed hundreds of fireworks all going off at the exact same moment. It was like an atomic bomb went off. Um, and I don't think anybody got hurt during that, but a whole lot of people had ringing ears because they were directly underneath where this thing launched from a barge. It was a massive, it was like somebody just took a nail and just raked uh, the launch device, just went, okay, I'm just going to short everything. And they just all went off at once. And it was this massive explosion where you could feel the heat coming off of it. And we were like hundreds of feet away, trying to, well, I was eating dinner and the AI was analyzing their meal for their data. Anyway, I have to frame everything like that. So it says, however, the new displays are largely being adapted over concerns about fireworks potentially polluting the environment and triggering wildfires, particularly in fire-prone western states during the often hot and dry summer season. So I get it, but if you've ever seen a drone show, drone is probably the right word for it. You just kind of sit there and you're listening to music, but snooze fest. I mean, these drones had better explode into a fireworks display, because just watching them pivot around every 2 minutes or so is watching dry white toast slowly dry up the atmosphere around it. Yeah. Crazy Cat Lady says, I'll skip the drone shows. Would rather watch paint dry. Paint drying is a little bit more exciting than a drone show. Again, they're neat, but they are not fireworks displays on 4th of July. It's not doing that much damage to the atmosphere. Come on. At the end of the day, there's a little bit of non-combustible material and some paper hitting the ground. Of course, I've also been in range where they've detonated too close to the hillside that everybody was standing on, and we were getting pelted by fireworks debris. Like, you know what? I'm going to put my glasses on and put a hat on and block some of this, because people were sitting there going, oh my God, I'm getting hit. That was an interesting 4th of July too. Okay, maybe they have a point, everybody. Let's just go full drone. No, just kidding. Drone shows are boring. See, now we lost drone manufacturers.
But we still have firework
But we still have
manufacturers.
fireworks. Yes. Yeah. ohmTown for all your explosive needs. Okay, let's go on to the last article for today in the Late Night Geeks channel. There's a lot of sci-fi streaming this summer. It's already been a pretty eventful summer for science fiction fans. Last week we saw the finale of Apple's post-apocalyptic series Silo. We haven't watched any of that. Strange New World Season 2 is keeping Star Trek going through August. Yay. Disney Plus is still in the midst of Secret Invasion. I haven't watched any of that. I'm waiting for it all. It's Alien Conspiracy offshoot of the MCU. And there's the return of Black Mirror, which I've only seen the beginning of one episode, all because my mayoral duties are keeping me from watching the show. But don't let that stop you from following us here on Twitch and over on YouTube and the podcast. And don't let anything that I'm telling you today stop you from leaving a review, making a comment. I don't know, other than a whole bunch of people showing up in the stream, I don't know how to get seen on Twitch. like in its own discoverability process. There's like zero discoverability. Most of the time, it's people coming here via raids and stuff like that. Um, so, yeah, let's go over to the source of this, Andrew Webster again, from The Verge. From Star Wars spin-off to epics on Apple TV Plus, it's going to be easy time for genre fans. I'm going to have to talk with Tull here. I hate that Apple has its own exclusive streaming app, and it has a ton of exclusive videos. I really wanted to watch Greyhound, but I'm not supporting Apple. Should I open Pandora's box? Sure. Why? So it says it's already been pretty eventful summer for science fiction fans. If you haven't watched Strange New Worlds, it's awesome. If you like well-written bottle episodes with great soundstage and atmosphere, then you'll dig this season's and first seasons, but this season in particular, Strange New Worlds. If you are an empathetic person who isn't necessarily shy of witnessing emotion, raw emotion, and understanding the human condition and can bond with a character, because obviously this is an actor, you'll dig Strange New World Season 2. The 2 episodes, I think it's only 2 so far, have been epic. They've actually been in a bottle, both of them, and just hitting it out of the park. I haven't seen anything with Secret Invasion other than the artificial intelligence issue. Sorry, 1 second. Is it okay to talk about that, Tull? Like, I don't know if you want me to relay everything and discuss it like on the audio. So, on top of all of that, there are also a number of series making their debut in the coming weeks and months. So many, in fact, that you might need a little help plotting out your precious free time. So here's a handy list to make life a little easier. And I'm going to throw this into chat so that you too can go. Gotcha, Toll. Just making sure. So there's the URL that'll take you through ohmTown over to The Verge. If you've never seen Foundation, it's an interesting series about what seems like a somewhat harmonious civilization of humans and humanoids. I don't know if everybody is defined as a human in the series, but everybody's bipedal and human looking. But maybe from other planets and thus not necessarily quote unquote human. But it trends along a eugenics, cloning kind of storyline, and also kind of keys into its low-key Warhammer 40k beginning. Quite fascinating in its structure. And it starts leaning towards Game of Thrones-y, totalitarian, just overt violence, but without all of the violence because it's so subtle about how it does things. But you'll dig it. I mean, Foundation is really interesting, and you should go back and watch all of Foundation and then watch season 2. I had stopped watching Futurama for many, many years. I don't know that much about it, but I love the phrase "kiss my shiny metal ass." So that's where it comes from. And if you're interested in pithy little statements like that, then you definitely want to watch Futurama. There's a lot of story and world building in there too. Invasion season 2. Haven't watched it. Not season 2, at least. I watched the beginning. The first season of Invasion. It ended rather abruptly, and so I'll be awaiting this. I think the pandemic really put a lot of brakes on people. And then Ahsoka is a new one that's coming out. That one's pretty much self-explanatory. Tells the story of Ahsoka Tano. And then Loki season 2, which that hasn't been heard of since when? Pre-pandemic?
It seems like
been 3
it's
years.
been eons since Loki season 1.
Yeah. So Loki will be coming back. Hopefully it won't be low key. Get it? Anyway, okay. I don't tell all of them as good
No,
jokes.
it's 2021. It feels like it was longer than that.
Really? Wow, I thought it was longer back than that. My goodness. It certainly feels that way. So Toll said that they had an Apple product a while back and didn't like the interface because they didn't have an Apple computer to interface with it. Plus, as a company, they seem really snooty or stuck up. Yeah, it can come across like that. But nowadays, you don't really need, like an Apple tablet, you don't need a computer to use it. An iPhone, you don't need any other device to use it. Not anymore. There was a time when you had to connect it to be highly efficient for backups and other stuff like that, but they've gotten their act together. As for Snooty, they're expensive. They don't hold their retail value like they used to, and because of that, their prices, while their main products are their top end products are still expensive. Some of them wildly expensive. The dollar per performance really is extraordinary. That said, if you don't get the cutting edge of their phone, their watch, their tablet, you can do it all without a computer, and it's drop dead simple restoration, security, installing software, intercommunication between the devices, etc. And so I really do like Apple devices. I can't say that I like their old school representations of themselves, because that's exactly what the culture was. It was exclusive and priced out a great number of people. I never bought Apple products for a tremendous amount of time. But when I started using them, I actually started digging them. And so, but I've got everything. I've got Raspberry Pi, I've got Arduino, I've got Linux devices, I've got Apple and Windows all over the place, virtual machines of Linux distributions and old school Windows stuff. Until says, where do you go with that series? Which series? Sorry. Toll also says one of the big turnoffs with Apple is that even with the court-issued warrant of gathering evidence in a felony case, Apple refuses to unlock a phone or assist in the investigation unless they recently changed that policy. Well, depending on what it is, they don't even have access to unlock a phone. Depending on how it's all configured, what was done, they don't have a backdoor. And they won't produce a backdoor because a backdoor, in its very nature, is designed to be opened by somebody, and it is a massive security hole. So they've broken off security, so it's all on device. They can't remotely unlock it; only you can. But there are ways to do it. It just can take a tremendous amount of time. Like, I can do an entire bitwise copy of the chipset that's holding the data, create a virtual machine of the device, and then attempt again and again accessing it in a virtual machine interface. Nefarious people still hack iPhones. It's very tough, though. You have to be in possession of it, and it has to be unlocked. A locked iPhone is largely impervious to access. Again, it takes a tremendous amount of time, unless they have a weak password like 12345, which isn't unheard of. The weakest link in the entire chain is the human component, and and a weak password. So yeah, and this stands to reason with all devices. And the fact that if you actually get access to a piece of technology, the sky's the limit for attempts to access it. Windows is a sieve. Android is largely a sieve. But in an unlocked phone is absolutely open to access. So I was actually challenged by somebody to access their device. And all I have to do, I'm waiting for my moment. I have a device that I can plug into their phone, and all I need is about 15 seconds for them to go and get a cup of coffee at the right moment, and I'll have access to their device. But they said that I couldn't do it, and I said, well, you won't know it until I'm in. And so we've agreed. And it'll be quite interesting when I actually follow through. So, and Windows devices are even easier. And security is quite intriguing. So it's one of my fields. So at any rate, great conversation. Thanks for sharing, Toll. I know that Crazy Cat Lady might be out there. I don't know who else is in chat. I know that we have historically several lurkers that hang out. You are, like cats, the entities that power the internet. You're the people person. You're the people version of cats that power the internet. I guess. Am I? I don't know.
I'm not sure where you're going with that, but
I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with any of this. But thanks for all. Everyone hanging out. I really do appreciate it. It means the world to me that you spend your time with me. I say this lately at the end of every show. The last 3 shows, it's really great to have people hanging out with us in chat. So Toll says that they were going to just let me tap dance off that countertop. Yeah, right into oncoming traffic. I know. You're lurking when reading stories from ohmTown.com. Yeah, I hope you dig the site. ohmTown was in, we're at the end of the show, so I can actually drag us all back to the main street, hit that welcome sign. I need to turn this into a welcome to ohmTown logo instead of just ohmTown. And yeah, oh, thanks, Crazy Cat Lady. Yeah, be sure to, I don't look at who logs in and who registers and stuff like that. So if you're not registered, register, because then you can swipe left and right. Allows you to save and hide articles so that you're not bothered by them anymore. And they go into 2 more lists that show up in this column. Right here is a remember list. I'm sorry?
If you're signed in, it'll show
if you're
up there.
signed in, you see it. But you can click on it with your mouse, or if you're on mobile, you can just swipe with your finger left or right, and it'll save it to the left, it'll hide it to the right, and then you can go into each of those 2 lists and then swipe it one way or the other if you want to keep it, or if you want to move it from the save to the hide. A feature we added relatively recently, but everybody that has used it so far has really enjoyed that experience. And even within that list, everything is broken out by the day. So if you go scrolling through it, and I can't do it today because there's probably, how many articles were aggregated? Something like 600, 800 today. When we break from one day to another, there's this separation, and it coincides with all of these. So you can go back all the way to 2020, and I went back in time and deleted about 6 more years worth of data. But I saved these. We actually started publicly allowing access to ohmTown in January 1st, 2022. And so I decided to keep a little bit of news from the past, but I've been using this creation remotely for my own edification, my own use for a decade now. Um, but you can go back in time and actually look at the news like, I wonder what happened in 2022 January 14th, and then show it, and it'll reach back and show it that fast. This is what happened in the 24 hours of January, what did I say, 12th? January 14th, 2022. And it'll have the little snippet, but not the entire article. But when hopefully, and it won't have the picture because we added pictures recently. But when you click on it, it should take you to a page that has the snippet that is provided by the source. And then when you click on it, it'll take you to the source. So it's kind of like an elephant, all encapsulated within one site. And again, it's all the news without the noise. So you get to search for what you want. And you can go into each one of these and subscribe to, you're automatically subscribed to all of these channels, but you can unsubscribe from them if you're not interested in those. So when you go here, you shouldn't see things that are from a channel that you don't want. It should be working like that. But anyway, you were just reading the elephant story? Really? There's an elephant story? Did I? Wait. Is there really an elephant story? That would be funny if I said it's oh, look at that. Elephants have a very human way of eating disorder. What the heck? I had no idea. I hadn't seen that. That was awesome. Wow. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoy the show. I hope you all enjoy ohmTown. I had several people come to me just organically and say, you really need to, because I was showing people, hey, I use this all day, every day. And they're like, no, you need to open this up for more people. Can you give me access to it? And I'm like, well, it's not ready. January 1st, I opened it up to everybody. So I hope that people really enjoy it. So tell a friend. There's only one ad. It's way down here, well below the fold. The only time you might see it is if you click on a link and it's sitting right there again, and it's still below the fold in most people's interfaces. I don't collect user data. I don't sell user data. The site is really there just to stoke people into reviewing the news. And I hope that you come here every day, 9 p.m. I am going to be expanding this to other channels. Like I'm going to be launching Reality Hacker pretty soon. I promise I'm going to be launching Reality Hacker. It'll be a show that comes on right before ohmTown Daily, but only once a week. I haven't decided on which day. Each one of these is a single day weekly show. And I hope to have a host or co-host. So Toll, if you're interested, are you into cars? You want to be the co-host on 4-Wheel Tech? We can drink beer and talk shop about cars. Have a good time, everybody. We will be back tomorrow together at 9 p.m. Eastern. And I will be streaming tomorrow Dave the Diver some more. I'm absolutely in love with that game. And possibly Forever Skies. I need to reinstall it. So at any rate, that's it for today. We'll keep in touch, Tull. I am Merwatt. That is ohmTown. Up there is the AI that keeps me in check. You want to say goodnight? Oh, great AI.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thank you for those of you that joined the show tonight. Have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Stay awesome, everybody. Good night.